Well, a landmark ruling that's come from court that says a breakup does not accuse you of abatement to suicide. Just in a case that was heard by the Delhi High Court, can a broken relationship become a criminal offense? The Delhi High Court has made an important observation while granting bail to a man accused of abatement of suicide after his former partner died days after he married someone else. Justice Manoj Jain said something that could resonate in courtrooms across India. Heartbreak and breakups are common. A mere breakup does not automatically amount to instigation for suicide. In fact, in this case, the woman died by suicide in October 2025. Her father alleged that she was under pressure from the accused to convert to his religion for marriage and that this pressure drove her to take the extreme step. The man was arrested then in November, but the court who was hearing this case noted some key gaps. Statements from the girl's friends said that she was upset but did not mention any pressure related to religious conversion. The court also recorded that the accused had stopped speaking to her months earlier, from February 2025 itself. There was no dying declaration either. The couple had been in a relationship for 8 years. In the man's defense, the accused said the relationship was cordial, but her parents opposed the match because they belonged to different religions. And he claimed she was forced by her family to end it. So they were already going through a lot of friction for the years that they were together. Granting bail, the court stressed an important legal standard under Section 108 of the BNS. For abatement of suicide, there must be clear instigation, provocation that should be so direct and compelling that it leaves a person with no option but to take their life. The court observed that this appears to be a case of a broken relationship, and possibly the woman, after learning that he had married someone else, chose to end her life. The law, the court emphasized, does not treat every emotional betrayal as a crime. Not every painful separation amounts to criminal instigation. To prosecute abatement of suicide, the law requires direct instigation, active provocation, and a clear link between conduct and suicide. Now, this case moves to trial where evidence will be examined in detail further, but it raises difficult questions. Is the high legal threshold making it harder to address emotional coercion in relationships? Can emotional vulnerability be measured in a court of law? If every breakup becomes a criminal case, then we risk criminalizing personal choice altogether. But if genuine coercion is ignored, how does that work? This is where law meets emotion, and the line between heartbreak and crime remains painfully complex. Rashi Juneja, clinical psychologist and director of Mind Ease Clinic, joining us. We have Sanjay Chadda, advocate of the Supreme Court. Thanks very much, both of you. Rashi, what's your take on this? Before I get to the lawyer here, psychology of this woman who committed suicide after she found out that her boyfriend of 8 years had married someone else. Now, the court, as it delves into this case, finds some gaps that they had already stopped talking for months before she had claimed her life. Their family, the parents of the girl, were not willing for the marriage because they were of two different religions. So they already had a lot of friction. The relationship probably was never to happen anyway, from the looks of it, from the way the court has observed this, because of parents' opposing it, and maybe the boy wanting her to convert to her religion, but she did not want to. The parents did not allow it also. So all in all, it was a relationship that was bound to fail, right? He walked out months earlier, got married to someone else, and months later she decides to kill herself. Can this, I mean, what do you think of the psyche of the person? The parents say that the boy is to blame.
Hi, Ms. Nabila. Thanks for having me here, first of all. Okay, so the thing here is we have to see multiple factors. I will not comment on
not the legal aspect of it, but just the woman's mind, right? If the man was alive, would she have wanted him to go to jail? I don't know.
None of us can comment that.
Yeah.
But coming to the emotional part per se, so I just want to focus on one thing here. First of all, loss of a relationship, if you want to compare it to something, it's loss of a love object. So just imagine that you have nurtured a child for 8 years and then you lose child all of a sudden. So you have invested yourself emotionally, financially, physically, mentally in a relationship. And when that relationship goes, it creates a vacuum. That support is not there anymore. That individual is not there anymore altogether. So, how that vacuum are we dealing with? One. Second comes the personality parameters. So, what is my personality exactly? How is my coping? What is my level of resilience? Am I having enough support system with me to deal with such kind of a pressure that I'm having? And how is my family support, my immediate circle? And then comes my biological characteristics. Has there been any addictions and any substance role that comes into the picture, or has there been any predisposing factor, any past experiences that makes me more vulnerable to this situation? And then last but not the least, how the overall situation is coming out. So there are multifolds. It's like an onion. We have to do a proper victim profiling or a criminal profiling for the guy if we are taking him as a criminal, because I'm not the right person to comment upon that. So, but coming to the emotions per se, we have to look into the picture from the holistic perspective. Not just breakup, I am saying, can be the only reason, and other factors can also play major role here.
But emotionally, I don't know if if the woman was strong enough, then she wouldn't have taken this extreme step. How
It's
how See, it
it's
could
not.
be so from the court's, some parts of the court's observations, it also established that friends were spoken to, and the friends apparently said that she was very upset, but she never spoke about any force of conversion, etc., but she was very upset. Now, another thing is that the religious differences, whatnot. So, sometimes knowing very well that the relationship will not work, both of them still continue, you know, and then eventually when it breaks, you can't hold the man or the woman entirely responsible.
See, being great lovers doesn't really mean that you'll be great companions as well. So there are multiple areas where we have to work every day. Also, even if any of us is in a relationship, we know we won't be 100% every day. There are times when we have to be 80, other person have to be 20, and other person would be 10, and we have to act like 90. So that goes on and off. But our own personality also plays a major role. What if I'm an impulsive individual and I take the decision in an impulsivity? And what if I am so low and I am dealing with such a grief of losing a relationship which I have nurtured for almost a decade, and now I don't have it? Now, how am I supposed to deal with this vacuum? So, that dealing with vacuum might have led me to a complex emotional state, which I am not able to deal with at present.
Would you term the woman as completely broken and weak towards the fag end?
I cannot say that completely, but yes, definitely a part of her must be broken because of the loss.
Since she's gone, we can't really cast aspersions. But how could have she dealt with it better, Rashi?
Emotional support system, definitely a good circle, initially a good eye on me, so that if I'm having that vacuum, what is my go-to deal to it? If I indulging into activities that used to give me pleasure, going for things that I have kept on hold for a while, and going out a little more so that I can distract myself from the thoughts, repetitive thoughts that I'm having. But yes, it takes time. Grief takes at least 6 months to deal with it. If you lose somebody in the family, you take at least 6 months to go through that whole process. The similar way it works here. It takes time. Talking about what you have lost also helps you to recover. And at the same time, a good support system plays the major role here.
Okay, Sanjay Chadda, your take on the family blaming the man entirely, and he was arrested. The case is still on, though. Give us your sense. But this is certainly a huge a huge precedent set in terms of court observing that a breakup does not really necessarily mean abatement to suicide. Give us your sense, and how at the same time can it protect a woman? Some women now might feel that if there was indeed coercion, how can they possibly prove it?
Well, if you ask me, this decision, this judgment is in the line of well settled law. I remember, there was a judgment few days back in the Supreme Court, Justice Nagaratnam had given, woman judge had given, who's going to be the first woman Chief Justice of India also. She had given a judgment where what had happened, there was a kind of neighborhood fight was there, and a woman went and committed suicide, and the entire trial went, and finally the matter reached Supreme Court, where Supreme Court had said that it is not an abetment to suicide. You have to understand what is there in section 108 BNS, or earlier if we call it 306 IPC. You have to see what are the ingredients, what whether the ingredients are fulfilled here or in any other case. Then there is a question which comes further, that if the ingredients are fulfilled, then only the offense will be supposed to be committed. What are the ingredients of abetment? Ingredient of abetments are, as you have also rightly said while in the beginning of your program, that there should be an intentionally instigation. Either the person has intentionally intentionally aided, or intentionally conspired to that
To push you to the edge, yeah.
force that person to commit the suicide, and there is no option left. So from day one, the person, the accused, knows that he is forcing her, and the end would be she will commit suicide. This is what, in this case, if I may say, sudden provocation.
But having a fulfilling relationship for 8 years, and a lot of friction because of religious differences, parents not agreeing. We know that story is so common in India, right? Parents not agreeing because of different caste, different religion, but yet the two, have a relationship for so many years because, love is love. But at the end of it, the girl or the guy cannot tolerate it, and then once one person moves on, the other is just torn apart. That cannot be termed as abatement, you say.
The established law is this one.
Right.
Established law is very clear that there should be such continuous pressure upon the victim that victim has left with no other option, no other choice but to commit suicide. So it's very difficult for prosecution.
And it's easy to demarcate that. It's easy to establish that whether there was coercion or not.
It's not easy. It's very difficult. It is
Difficult.
very, very difficult.
Here in this case, they managed to speak to the friends of the couple and whatnot. So
that's how from the circumstances it was gathered. Like, they spoke to the friends. The prosecution's task is very difficult here. Why it is difficult? Because prosecution does not know. Nobody knows the story which is prior to their the date of suicide. Nobody knows what all those 6-8 months, but a presumption can be drawn that, look, for 6 months when she can live happily, and she has not even
happily, we can't say happily, but
in the sense,
what she managed to survive, 6 months.
No, happily means
she has survived. She has survived for 6 months. She's endured it.
Without discussing with the near, dear, close friends, as close friends must have given the statement, as you have also mentioned. I was also reading it before. And the other thing which is very important at this juncture, as far as this particular case is concerned, the important thing is the trial is yet to happen.
Right.
This is a stage where the High Court has granted the bail to the accused.
Right.
So in the trial, if they are able to, the prosecution is able to prove that, look, this is a continuous process wherein she was not left with anything else, but it was the ultimate outcome was the provocation or abetment by the individual.
We hear you. I really appreciate both of you for joining us here and giving us clarity on that. Thank you.